I've said it before, but I'll say it again. I've noticed that there are a lot of articles lately discussing how North Korea's missiles are capable of hitting the United States now. These threads usually devolve into arguments about Japan and how they must be getting antsy, or how Seoul is or is not at risk of artillery shelling or chemical attacks, not to mention how China love-hates North Korea. Before we get into any war scenarios, I want to make this point. Even if we agree that North Korea has the ability to attack America, we must ask the more important question of whether they have a reason to attack America or her allies. If North Korea was more powerful than America, maybe they'd attack us. But they're not. Not by a long shot. You know that. All that rhetoric of engulfing America in a sea of flames is for their own people, who, by the way, are increasingly ignoring the propaganda themselves. South Koreans and North Korean defectors are waging a cultural war in North Korea by sending in USB drives full of Korean pop, Korean dramas, and Korean film. If you want internal change, that's how you do it. You have to subvert the propaganda with proof of wealth on the outside, not meet it head on by upping our own militant rhetoric. That's playing into their own game. If we as the public and you as the media fail to parse out the fact that North Korean government prefers the status quo, we will only bring fear and greater uncertainty to the American public, because we will continue to read headlines about North Korea's capabilities without factoring in their reasoning. Important side note, calling Kim Jong-un crazy or unstable doesn't do us any good because it shifts our perspective of him. We need to interpret his actions carefully, not dismiss them arrogantly. Every move he has made, from gaining weight so that he looks more like his reverend grandfather to killing his China-backed brother, Kim Jong-un's actions are carefully considered to ensure his regime's preservation. In the face of these facts, we need to ask ourselves this simple question: would he have anything to gain by attacking America or her allies with a nuclear strike? If you've been paying attention, the answer should be a resounding no. The second North Korea strikes first, they lose any and all moral authority as the aggressor, and they leave themselves open to merciless retaliation and a sure end to the Kim dynasty. The opposite would be true if the US were to attack. The second America strikes first, China and Russia would point an accusatory finger at us for disrupting the status quo in a region that has seen stability and growth for decades now. South Korea, should it not give consent, will feel betrayed by her most important ally for going behind her back. You folks chiming in every so often saying, "It's time to do something," without understanding any of this are only making the situation worse. You're giving journalists clicks for inflammatory headlines. You're giving writers a reason to make the headlines more scary, and you're feeding the bias that comes from misunderstanding. Believe me, I'm no fan of the current administration, but even Trump knows that. It's why he hasn't attacked. It's why he's been trying to pressure China. You don't think he'd have done something by now if he could have, when he's losing face over the North Korea issue? China has been happily advancing its society for the last few decades, and anything to hinder this progress will be stopped with great prejudice. As such, a war in Korea would throw the world's economy into chaos. You're advocating a conflict between China, the US, Korea, and Japan, and you don't think that's going to be the case? South Korea is not only a major trading partner, investor, and employer in America, it is now a regional power in Asia that should be given full consideration before any action is taken. And as far as I can tell, articles and the comment threads don't give much attention to the South Korean perspective. America and her allies have aligned interests. If you go America first at the sake of an ally's wishes, you're going to lose whatever faith our allies have in us. It's why our guarantee of retaliation is so powerful. If we didn't retaliate against a North Korean strike on our allies, our guarantee of security to our other allies will crumble. Senator Lindsey Graham seems to think America wouldn't suffer in case of a war in Korea. Let me assure you, if there is a war, American jobs will be lost, those employed by Korean companies. American lives will be lost, servicemen and civilians in Korea. And America may well lose favor among East Asian nations if the war gets out of hand and the repercussions echo throughout the region. That is to say, refugees from South Korea will flee to Japan, and North Koreans will flee to China. And you think Syria is bad? A North Korean nuclear strike on America or her allies is out of the question. North Korea will not strike first with nuclear arms unless we corner them. You know what they say about cornering prey, right? It's the dumbest thing you can do because they will go all out when there is nothing to lose. Always leave a room to escape. By getting suckered into the media narrative of a greater chance of war, our countries inch closer to war because of the increased fear among the public. Fear blinds us when fear is founded on incomplete information. We make poor choices on top of being blinded. We have the missile defense system in America and Japan. We are not without recourse there. And therefore, the threat is not really there. The threat is to South Korea, who is a bit too close for most systems to be effective. And I understand especially in an artillery barrage scenario. This is why the THAAD is so controversial. It's nice to have, but unnecessary considering the other threats it won't deter. Artillery, and the political fallout it leads to, China retaliating economically against South Korea. Not to mention South Korea already possesses Americans' retaliation as a deterrent to a nuclear strike, as covered above. It is true that North Korea is growing in capability, and there are valid fears that even if North Korea never attacks, they could still sell the nuclear technology. To this I say increase monitoring and disincentivize those countries or entitle entities who would seek to buy. I hear the Iran deal is working out all right so far. Nuclear technology will spread throughout the world as a matter of time, just as gunpowder weapons did. It will be impossible to stop the proliferation of information, but what we can do is deter the use of this information by not pushing each other into corners. What we should do instead is invest heavily in defensive technology to preemptively castrate any possible threats by proliferating wealth and trade relationships with problem countries. We also need to remember that though the Korean War was a proxy war between Stalinist forces and the US in the aftermath of World War II, instead of dividing up Japan like we did Germany after the war, we divided up Korea, who had been suffering from Japanese exploitation for 30 plus years, all because Korea is located a more strategically significant location next to China. We must therefore understand that North Korea's increased nuclear capabilities are also an extension of modern Russia and US's relations. The two will avoid a direct confrontation, but wherever they can, will try to top each other. See Ukraine, Syria, and now North Korea. If North Korea starts ramping through Asia, sure, let's wipe them out. But North Korea has yet to invade a country since ceasefire in 1953, save for a brief stint with NVA. Skirmishes have occurred, but neither side wants it to escalate any further. To close, I want to emphasize the importance of building the relationship between the USA and the SK, South Korea, USA and China and South Korea. The stronger these relationships are, the even less likely North Korea will dare to step out of line. China won't stop feeding North Korea behind the scenes, so if other relationships are getting complicated, we will have lost a long-term war as China gets stronger by virtue of population and North Korea climbs out of poverty in the long run via feeding tube. So long as America can align its desires for the status quo by building up relations with countries in North Korea, we will continue to prevent war that we have prevented for the last 70 years. Mr. President, please feel free to ignore the North Korean threat, as there is none in the face of America's overwhelming advantage in every aspect. America, don't entertain the idea of striking preemptively, and you won't give China and Russia any political ammo to shoot at us. If North Korea goes postal on South Korea, then yeah, let loose the hounds of war. But till then, rest easy, as we have countermeasures in place already. Well, bing bong, North Korea. A comment to this reads, in support of your third paragraph, American rock and roll, pornography, and McDonald's invaded Vietnam more successfully than the armed forces ever did. Well, there you have it.